We're actually going to start in a position called Constructive Rest. And this position feels like you're not doing anything. I think that's the rest component. But the constructive component is it does a really beautiful job of really kind of easing some tension in the low back. And I know a lot of you as athletes talk to me about low back being an issue, especially in golf and the amount of like kind of torque in the low back, or simply being a human being. All right, so this is fun, this is easy. So come on down, and all you need to do is bend your knees and put the feet on the floor. So you'll take your feet maybe just a little bit wider than hips width apart. And so with hands, it just feels super natural for me to let the hands rest on my belly. And if you like that, it's nice because you get a little feedback, right? You feel the movement of the body with the breath. And so what we're doing here is we're just letting the long bones of the thighs, right, the femur bone, just kind of sink deeper into the hip socket, right, the acetabulum, so that the head of the thigh bone has, I think of it as like a fist, right? And that just kind of nestles into that hip joint. And so we're getting that really sweet, kind of beautiful lengthening here of the thighs, but what we're also doing is bringing a little bit more suppleness to the psoas muscle, right? And that connects the upper and lower body together. And the psoas lies really deep below the abdominals. It's a postural muscle. And it's we call it a muscle, but it's actually like a sensory organ, more like the tongue. And the psoas, it's spelled P-S-O-A-S. It is really kind of like related to the reptilian brain. It's our fight or flight muscle. So it helps us to, like if we were to draw our knees into our chest, the psoas muscle facilitates that. If we were to begin to run away, the psoas helps that movement. And so we're just kind of giving that muscle a moment here. Good, take one more full breath in and full breath out. Okay, grab your strap or whatever is serving as your strap. And draw your right knee in and just get the strap over the ball of the foot. So if your natural tendency is to want to grab really high on the strap, what I want you to do for a moment is slide your hands down and bend your knee. So the right knee has a little bend. I'm actually just letting my hips shift a little side to side. So left foot on floor, right knee nice and soft. Good, take a nice full breath in. And then as you exhale, now I want you to begin to stretch your legs straight. And imagine like you could press the leg away. Drop your shoulders down. So get a nice flexion at the foot. So another request that I get all the time is for hamstrings. And so this is a really nice way just to begin to turn the hamstrings on. So we'll just continue pressing that right leg away, flexing the foot. And then maybe if you find yourself kind of a little bit aggro on your strap, let your hands slide down a little more. Good, last full breath. And then what I want you to do is take both ends of your strap or whatever is serving as your strap into your right hand and take your left hand and kind of anchor it as if you had a left front pocket and let that right leg begin to open up to the right. So by keeping the left foot on the floor and your hand on the hip, we have a lot of kind of leverage to really ground through the hips here. Good, and then slowly bring that right leg back up. Take both ends of the strap into your left hand and cross that right leg over. So we're keeping that left foot on the floor, which is interesting because that's going to prevent us from taking this leg too far. So now we get into the IT band. So if you have like the seam along your pants and the side seam of the leg there, that's the IT band. Okay. And take one more moment here, just feeling the length. Right, so a lot of times people try to overstretch the IT band, and really it's not necessarily the best thing. The IT band holds us together, right? So it has a function, and it needs to be, I don't like to use the word tight, but its role is to hold us together. So it has to have a certain amount of tautness. Good. Come back to center. Once again, I want you to take the strap in your right hand, both ends, and bend your left knee. Okay, so we're going to take the left hand to the top of the shin and open up the right leg, and then allow your left leg to open up kind of wide, like if you're hugging your knees really wide. Now you can keep your left hand on your shin, or maybe you'll flex the foot, get the hand over the ball of the foot. So we're just like stretching ourselves in half, basically. We're kind of really moving the energy from the inner groin all the way out. Good. And release, just hug that left leg in for a moment, stretch the right leg up, and then remove your strap and just give yourself a little hug here. So we'll stay in this hugging in position. It's really lovely to kind of stretch that band across the low back. All right, and release. Okay, same thing, other side. So whatever is serving as your strap, get it around the ball of the foot, and bend your knee. Right, so we come at this in a really kind of more methodical way. So the knee stays bent. We'll take a nice big full breath in. And then as you exhale, now begin to stretch the legs straight. You might feel that stretch segue into the hamstring, even into the calf. So you want to make sure your neck stays long and kind of disinterested in this endeavor. So a lot of times the neck will take on the role of the abdominals or other body parts. So we want to let the shoulders soften away. Good, last breath. And then take both ends of the strap into the left hand and just let that leg open. So I'm gonna scoot myself over a little bit so it's interesting, all the parts of the house that get in the way of yoga. And I have to move a lot of furniture. Good, so opening up here. And then come back, take the right hand and grab both sides of the strap and just come into that IT band stretch. So the right leg on the floor keeps your hips from lifting up, which takes you more into a twist, right? So this is like a nice kind of clean, thorough way of opening up the IT band. Good, come back to center. And then once again, take both ends of the strap in your left hand, open the left leg up, and then bend your right knee, and you can take your hand to your shin. So it's almost like if you were kind of hugging your legs in really wide. And then you can stay hand on shin, or hand comes to the ball of the foot. And so what I want you to do is have the action of pressing the right knee down towards the floor as you stretch the left leg away. Good, release, take a moment, get one more stretch. Good, and then release and hug in, moving back, hug in. All right, just one more moment using the strap. So both feet on the floor, you can like lift and realign your hips, make sure the spine is nice and long. Once again, get the strap over the ball of the right foot. And I want you to keep your right knee nice and bent to start. Same as we did a moment ago. So we're going to use the same action. We're going to really kind of strengthen and I'm going to say just muscularly activate this leg. We're going to do the same thing with the left leg. To begin, knee bent, full breath in. And then as you exhale, stretch that right leg straight. And now extend your left leg long. Flex both feet. Good. Reaching straight up through the heels. Really up through the heel, the right leg out through the heel of the left leg. Good. So I find myself aggro lady on the strap. So slide your hands down, let the shoulders relax, and let the legs do the work. Press that right leg away. Press the left leg down into the floor. So this is super strong and active. Good. Release and just switch. We'll keep the foot in there. Okay. Start with the bent knee. Take a full breath. And then I want you to really elongate the leg as you stretch it straight. And now with that same activation, extend the right leg long. Flex both feet. Press up through the left heel, out through the right. You can slide your hands down the strap so your upper arms rest more on the floor. Draw your shoulders actively out of the ears so the neck stays really long. I'm gonna take one last breath. Good, and then release. Okay. Just hug your knees and take your strap and toss it to the side. It's a little rock side to side here. Good, and then you can rock forward and back and come up to a seat. Okay, so from here, I'm not gonna mirror you just because like it's too much for my brain. Right shin in front. Roll the shoulders open and back. And please take your right hand, just kind of like to the side. Take your left hand on your left hand, left knee. So full breath in. And then as you exhale, I want you to begin to rotate the rib cage to the right and really press into the left knee. So keep your spine tall, inhale. Good, and then as you exhale, you can, I'm hinging a little forward. Continue pressing the left hand into that left knee. I'm really more into kind of like the meatier part of the thigh. And hinge from your hips. So we're folding here. Especially on the exhale, it's a nice time to kind of press down. Good, inhale, come up. Roll the shoulders open and back, and we'll switch sides. So now you've got your left shin forward. And the left hand is just somewhere out to the side. Your right hand can press onto the right knee. So take a full breath in. As you exhale, press, and we begin. So we're just kind of rotating the rib cage. Good, full breath. And then with that rotation, hinge. So I'm finding that my right elbow is bending, right, as I'm folding forward. And we're just kind of pressing down to get some length. Good, last breath. Inhale, come on up. Okay, so from here, take your feet mats width apart. I'm actually going to show you from behind. So feet are mats width apart, hands are behind you, take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to drop the legs to the right. The left arm just comes around. And you'll open up that right arm a little wider. So take a nice big full breath in. And then as you exhale, you can stay elbows bent. Or you can come onto the right forearm. Maybe take the left fingertips and really reach them long. There's a really big side body stretch. There's a twisting element here. And breathe fully so the abdomen has a chance to really expand. And then slowly walk the hand back in. Okay, come back to neutral. So keep your feet mats width apart. That's pretty key. So take a full breath in. Exhale, drop the knees to the left. Sweep the right arm around. And so usually what I'll do is, once I arrive here, I take my hands a little wider apart. Good, so take a full breath. And then you can come onto the forearm if you'd like, and creep the right fingertips forward. Good, take one last full breath in and out. And slowly come on back up. Good, come back to neutral. Okay, good. So from here, take your left leg. I'll mirror you here. Take your left leg long, nice and wide. And bend your right knee, and it's sometimes like, it's a little measure. You can look at the heel kind of in line with the seam of the pants. And take your left hand to the meaty part of the calf, the ankle, the big toe mound. Good, and I want you to take your right hand and just get the hand behind the head. And begin to lift and lengthen the spine and open up the chest. Good, so I'm actively pressing that bent arm back behind me. From the center of the chest, extending the energy out. So you kind of have this equal measure, center of the chest out through both arms. Good, and then come back to what would feel like neutral, and then just sweep that right arm forward. So instead of lying ourselves down here, you can actually take your hands to either side of the leg, lift and lengthen your spine. There's a little bit of rotation that you can get through the rib cage, and then come back down. So getting back into the hamstring, into the low back, into the outer hip. Good, and then lift and lengthen as you come up. And take your right hand somewhere out side of the hip, stretch your left arm long, and then sweep it across the body and lift up. So you can do a lot of rearranging with the legs here. And feel free to open up that arm in whatever way feels good. Good, and come on down. All right, and we'll switch sides. Your right leg is long. Your left knee is bent. Again, hand just where it naturally lands, right? We don't want to have to overstretch. So left hand back of head. In fact, my hand is just kind of skimming the back of my head. I want you to take this and revolve the rib cage, open up. Let your inhale keep your spine long. Maybe exhale, you'll find a slightly deeper rotation through the ribs. Good, come back to neutral. And then, so what I actually did, I actually kind of slid my right sit bone back as I'm sweeping the left hand forward. Good, you can release and just get length here to begin. And then fold. See if you can really feel the direct kind of link between a full breath in through the nostrils and just sensation in the low back. Good, inhale, come up. Okay, this is called quarter dog, so bring both legs in and come to all fours. So what we'll do here is stretch the, let's start with stretching the left arm long, and you can take your right forearm to the floor, so it looks like this, okay? Left arm long, right forearm to the floor. Walk your, you want to keep your hips over knees, walk your left arm far forward, and then just let the head drop. So if you want more stretch, walk those fingertips further forward. Play around with what it's like to kind of lift the left arm bones up, in fact, like kind of including where the shoulder kind of meets the shoulder blade. I'm going to hollow out that armpit like an ice cream scoop. Let the chest be heavy. So the weight there kind of facilitates a little more depth. Good, and then slide that hand in, come to all fours. And we'll do the same thing. So this time, right arm is forward, left forearm to the floor, palm is down. So I'm actually walking my knees a tiny bit wider, a little bit back, walking my right hand a little further forward. Sometimes an exhale will bring more depth to the posture. On an inhale, though, feel the architecture of the bones. Feel the arm bones lifting slightly up. Feel the armpit hollowing. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration of that shape of the armpit. Good, and then slowly come on in. Okay, so now this is called Anahatasana. Both arms are forward. So stretching both arms forward, keeping the hips nice and high, and then just letting the chest drop down. Sometimes you can kind of dive deeply into a posture and just take up residence there with the breath. Good. And then on an inhale, walk your hands back in. So if you feel like there's not enough padding or protection for your knees, if you had a blanket, you could take it onto your mat, or you could even double up your mat or even triple it and bring your knees to the mat. Okay, so go ahead and stretch your right leg straight out to the right. And this is called half child's pose. So I've got my hips, I'm going to show you from here as well. So right now my hips are pretty high and they're even with my knee. And so you might even stay here. Maybe if you could bring forearms to floor, or if you had your pillow right there, you could take forearms to pillow. Now, some of you, this will be quite enough. And then if you'd like, if you want more, let the hips sink all the way down like child's pose. And you could make like yourself a little pillow, just with the hands, and rest for a moment. We'll take one more breath. And inhale, come on up. You can kind of heel toe that foot in a little bit until you can bring the knee down. And then same thing other side. So the left leg is long. Again, you can stay high, or you can shift your hips back, like you're all the way back in child's pose. And for me, it's interesting. So one side feels a lot different than the other, and that might be the case for you too. You don't always have to match both sides, right? The body sometimes is quite different. You want to position yourself where you find an edge, right? That's like a fairly comfortable edge, but you can get a really full, deep breath in and out, and then you kind of know that you've hit that sweet spot. Good, on an inhale, come on up. Okay, so bringing your mat back to neutral. We've done this before. This is one of my all-time favorites. And it's a really beautiful way to get an incredibly deep amount of opening through the upper back. So you're going to start on all fours. I hope this translates well over Zoom. You're going to start on all fours, and then you're going to keep the knees and hips exactly as they are. All you're doing is walking your hands over to the right. Okay, so now I'm actually taking my knees a tad bit wider. So your hands walked over to the right. Go ahead and just look at your right palm for a minute, or the back of the hand really. You're going to flip your left hand so the palm is up. And you're sliding it straight back, kind of in line with the body, sliding it straight back. You're going to come to the upper arm, the shoulder, and the side of the head. Now, you can keep your right hand on the floor and use that, like pressing the right hand down to facilitate more twisting and rotation through the trunk. Now you can keep the right hand there, or it doesn't leave the floor, but you can creep your fingertips forward. Keep the right elbow bent and kind of press that arm away. The gaze might naturally come up. Just make sure you have the head and neck in a position that's comfortable. Your left hand, it can stay, or I really take like the finger pads and press into the right side chest to open up a little deeper. Good. Release. And come out. Good. And to let that posture kind of sink in, come to child's pose, hands by feet, and just take a few breaths. Good, and then come back to all fours. Okay, so from all fours, I'll show you from this direction. The knees are slightly wider than they might traditionally be, and we're walking our hands over to the left. Now, I took my left knee and I took it actually just a little bit wider. I took my left hand a little further forward. Your right hand, the palm will flip up, and we're sliding it back kind of along the same line as the body. The upper arm comes up, or comes down, the shoulder comes down, the side of the head is down. Right, your left hand can stay planted for a moment. And you can feel into the left hand, so when you press your left hand down and almost like press it away, that may facilitate deeper opening. You can stay there, or you can, don't let the hand lift off the floor, you just kind of creep the fingertips forward. Keep the left elbow bent. If you wanted to take the right hand and press the fingertips into the left side chest to help you twist a little deeper, feel free. Good. Slowly release. Come up and out. And for just a moment, take child's pose. Good, and on an inhale, come back up. Okay, so coming into Dolphin Pose. So from all fours, a good way to kind of measure this, I want you to just look at your thumbnails and bring your forearms right about at that position. You're gonna interlace your hands together. Take a full breath in, tuck your toes under, full breath in. And as you exhale, lift your knees, lift your hips. Good, and then you can begin to walk your feet a little further forward. So no part of the head and neck is on the floor. This is super strengthening for the shoulder girdle, but being upside down and in inversion is also calming and cooling. So we have a little bit of a combo. And then you can begin to kind of press the chest back towards the legs. Good, last breath. Come on down. Good. And then just come to a seat and roll your shoulders open and back. Okay, so coming into a calf stretch. So from all fours, and again, I'll show you from the side, from all fours, I'm gonna have you step your left foot forward. So this is like kind of a pretty compact position in yoga, and it's not one we normally take. A lot of people try to lunge here, but it's like a little compromising for the knee. So we wanna stay neutral and then shift the weight all the way forward. So then what I'm doing is, now I'm taking that back leg and moving it slightly back. I'm gonna move my arms a little forward. So you can see the knee comes quite a distance forward of the ankle, and for me, forward of my foot. And then you can let the chin kind of soften down towards the chest. So there's quite a bit going on. We're lengthening through the Achilles, getting into the belly of the calf muscle and the front leg. There's a lot of compression through the ankle joint. And the back leg, you're really getting a nice amount of lengthening through the hip flexor and into the quadricep. Good, just take another full breath in, full breath out. And then slowly walk the hands back in. I'm gonna ask you to press yourself back to down dog. So you just feel nice and elongated here. And then for a little intermezzo, come onto the knees, tuck your toes under and come back to sit. So if this isn't appropriate for you, you can just sit with your feet flexed and pull your toes back towards you. But if it works, stay. Right? It brings us into a pretty uncomfortable position. Walk your knees a little bit further forward. So I'm actually going to come out for a second, spread my toes a little wider. Good. And just close your eyes here. You can do this. So take your hands, interlace just like at the top knuckle, and let the hands rest in the body. It's called Vajna Pradama Mudra. Right? It instills confidence, dispels doubt. And this is really good for the arches of the feet. Good, I know it's super sensational, so stick with it. Good, one last breath. And then release, and then we'll do the counter. So bring the tops of the feet to the floor, let your hips shift back, hands behind you, you can lift your knees up off the floor if you'd like. Just getting into the shins. Okay, and come back. All right, so back to all fours. We're bringing the opposite leg forward now, okay? So we're back in that kind of like kneeling position. From here, we're gonna shift forward. And then so this to me is too compact. Now I take my back leg and wiggle it back, but you still want your front knee, it'll be forward of the ankle and very likely forward of the toes. you can take the weight of the torso and rest it on the thigh to get a slightly deeper stretch. Just breathing into the compression, the elongation. Good. We'll take one last full breath in, and full breath out. Walk the hands back in and make your way back to downward facing dog. Good. And so from down dog, take a nice big full breath in and full breath out. Good. Inhale, lift your heels, soften your knees, look forward, and step your right foot forward in between the hands. So give yourself a nice long stance. Good, so we're gonna take the hands inside the front foot and then begin to walk them over to the left. Keep your hips slightly lifted, and I'm really creeping my right fingertips a little further forward. And now you can take them forward, and you can also continue to kind of walk the hands in a backward direction, like towards the wall behind you. Okay, and then walk the hands in. Bring your hips nice and neutral. Keep your left hand on the floor. Squeeze your outer hips in towards each other and stretch your right arm up. Good. Keep that back leg activated so the muscle hugs the bone, the leg bones lift up, and we get a little more rotation here, so there's a nice twisting element. Good. Exhale. The right hand is down. Now, once again, wiggle that back foot even further. You can double up your mat, so take your mat, double it in half to drop the left knee. Good, bring your hands to the thigh. Come to your lunge. So you can really stay here, hands on thigh, and press the thigh away. Option if you want, just stretch the right arm up, bend the elbow. Just take that classic tricep stretch. If it works for you, you'll take the bind, so hands come together behind you. Good, last breath. And release. Okay, so from here, you can, I'm walking my right foot out a little wider, so I'm kind of heel toeing it out, and then I'm gonna have my toes wide and my heel in. So this is, we're kind of segueing to a posture called dragon. You can stay just like this, or maybe come onto your forearms, right? Again, a highly sensational posture. You can let the head and neck relax down. Good, and then on an inhale, you can come back up to your palms. And yogi's choice, you can stay right here, or I'm bending my back leg, reaching that right arm around, grabbing onto the ankle or to the foot, and getting a really deep quad stretch. Good, last breath. And release. Come on back, just heel toe that foot in, and find yourself back in down dog. Let the arms and legs be the long levers that they are. So pressing down and back through the heels, pressing down and forward through the palms. Good, and then heels lift, knees are soft, look forward, step your left foot forward. Good, and find yourself in a lunge here. So walking the hands over to the side, walking them over to the right, keeping your hips elevated. But so there's also all these like little micro movements you can do. So I'm kind of creeping my front foot a little further forward, creeping my left fingertips further forward. Good, and walk everything back in. And keep your right hand planted. Hug your outer hips in and stretch your left arm up. You can really let that arm kind of fall back, and you'll feel a greater degree of rotation through the ribs and the torso. both hands back to the floor. You can double up your mat for that right knee, drop the knee down, and take your hands to your front thigh. So you can stay here, or left arm is up, bend the elbow, just that really classic tricep stretch. If you'd like, join hands together behind you. Good, it's called Gomukhasana arms. Good, and release. Okay, walk your left foot out a little wider. So I always feel like it's like opening a door, right? So that the foot is kind of open, and you can stay palms down or come onto forearms. Let your head and neck relax. Good, and then on a breath in, come back to your palms. And yogi's choice, stay right here or bend your back knee. Shift the weight a little more to the right arm, sweep your left arm back and clasp either the ankle or the foot. So you get that really meaty quad stretch. Good, and release. And go ahead and walk that left foot in. Lift both legs off the floor, let your mat come back to neutral, and then just pivot so the legs are nice and wide. Full breath in, and as you exhale, fold. So please engage through the quadriceps. So we want a little bit of activation in the legs. If your hamstrings are super tight and this doesn't feel comfortable, walk your feet a little wider. But conversely, if the hamstrings are really open, you can take your feet a little closer together. Lots of choices. You can take hands to the outer ankles if you like. You can also interlace the hands together as one behind you and let them fall forward. And then slowly release. Come back to a half lift. Good, and then just let your hands come back to frame your front foot. And slide your back leg up. Come into a seat. Okay. And then coming all the way down. Coming all the way down. And we'll come into, before we find a full twist, this is one of my new favorites. So I'm going to have you take your left leg and just cross it over your right. Just wiggle your hips a little bit side to side, just so you find a long spine. Let your arms come out a tad bit wider away from the body. Take a full breath. And as you exhale, we're not dropping all the way. We're just letting the legs, oh crap, did I tell you? I'm sorry. If I think I told you put your left leg over your right. If I did, you're dropping the legs left. Not much, just a little. And come back. That's the hard thing about Zoom. There's no feedback. Good, and once again, if the left leg is over the right, you're dropping left. But it's just a little bit. It's just to get that stretch kind of along the outer seam of the right leg. Good, come back to neutral. One last breath in. And exhale, go ahead and drop that leg into the left. Okay, come back to center. Uncross, and this time right leg is up, right leg crosses over left. Take a breath in. Exhale. That's not much. We just kind of let the legs drop slightly to the right. And come back to center. And again, drop slightly to the right. And come back. Last time. Good. All right, and then cross. And draw the knees in and rock the hips a little side to side. Take a full breath. And then as you exhale, let the legs drop left, right? If they're not on the floor, get a little pillow underneath. And if they don't stack on top of each other, put a pillow in between. Take your left hand and let it rest on the top leg. Your right arm, I like the goalpost position, but if that means like your shoulder or something is elevated, it's not comfortable, take your right hand to the body. Okay, yogi's choice. So I like to press into my left hand a little bit. So we've been kind of working on this through class. There's a little more rotation through the rib cage if you just have that little bit of pressure. Then you want an equal amount of kind of letting go. So let the low back relax. And then come back through center. Maybe place your arms in a T for a moment when you rock your hips. And then go ahead and drop the legs right. Take your right hand to the top thigh. Either goalpost arm with the left arm or just hand on body. Just for a moment or two, you can see what it's like to exert just a little bit of pressure. Right hand down on the thigh. And then let all that go. Good, and come back and place your feet on the floor. Arms are long by your side. So this is a little combo pose. So take a full breath in. Exhale, press into the feet. Begin to lift your hips. And you don't have to lift them too high. Take the shoulders and kind of wiggle them closer together underneath you. So we've got the hands connected like one nice column of energy. So normally what happens is we cross one thumb over the other. I want you to take the thumbs and make them neutral so that you can drop the hips down. So we drop the hips and the glutes onto the forearms and onto the wrist. Good, just a little kind of opening. Option if you want, bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees come wide. Good, and then go ahead and stand the feet back up. Walk your feet in a little bit, lift your hips. Okay, so from here, this is called Tiptoe Bridge. I want you to walk your shoulders down to your feet and then pop up onto the ball of it. Walk your feet closer to your glutes. Walk your shoulders down, walk your feet in until you've reached the point where you can grab the front of the ankle and you're kind of like, my hands are on my feet. Now, you can simply lengthen through the quads here. So kind of reach the knees forward and stay. If it feels safe to you, you can begin to let the legs come all the way forward. The spine will lift up. You can bring the top of the head to the floor, but don't force this one. This has to come naturally. Good. And slowly release. Walk your feet out. Walk yourself back to neutral. Okay. So go ahead and grab, if you've got your pillow, if you happen to have a block, that would be amazing. So we're coming back down, feet press down, hips lift up, pillow comes underneath your sacrum, okay? You can hug your knees. So the sacrum is that bone that connects the hips together in the back body. Hug your knees in and then just let your legs lift up. So you can do hands on low belly, you could do goalposts, you could do like, make yourself a pillow. You just want the legs to have that nice kind of elevation. Let the hips be weighty. Let your breath really kind of match the mood, right? We've got this really lovely inversion. So maybe you can think about letting the exhale last just a bit longer than the inhale. Just a few more moments here. Good. Good, last full breath in, full breath out. You can slowly bend the knees, keeping the pillow right where it is. I like that little lift it gives. Just hug the knees into the chest. You can hug them really wide if you want. Good. And then put the feet on the floor. Lift your hips, remove the pillow. Get the pillow underneath the head if that feels good, right? So coming into your Shavasana, so that means the body is long on the mat. The legs are long, the arms are by your sides, palms face up. So giving yourself as much time as you need to really lengthen the entire body out. Let the eyes sink deeper into the sockets. And let the skin drape over the bone. Let the muscles soften into the floor. As you begin to simply become more acutely aware of the presence of the body, the mat, the breath in the body, know that every time you practice yoga, it's like when you get that option to update an app on your phone or your computer. Right? We provide little updates to the nervous system. I'll take one more nice full breath in and out here in Shavasana. And you're going to find a side to roll to that's most natural. Pause there for a moment. And eventually bring yourself back to a seat. And once you're upright, go ahead and let the hands join each other in prayer. Let them rest on the skin. We'll take a nice big full breath in through the nose, pause and hold. Open the mouth and let it go. Hare Om, Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Namaste. Thank you all.